have something kind of exciting to show you today, and that is how to make something called sketch notes with Nano Banana, which is Gemini's image generation engine, and it is super fun and super cool. Sketch notes are just a certain style of notes, and you can inspire your students to add on to them, to create fill in the blank versions of them, and they're just sort of a fun way to present information. And Nano Banana is such an advanced image generation engine that now it will create words and content that it previously couldn't do. AI was not great with images. So I'm going to show you how to do this. And I wanted to just make sure before we get in that you have access to my prompt that I've developed to create these sketch notes. And that is at bit.ly/AI sketch notes. The A and the I are capitalized there. And then as we go into Gemini, which is Google's AI tool, if you've never used that before, there are a couple settings that I will point out as we do this, but you have to have the tools setting on create images there where it says Nano, or there where there's the little banana, that's Nano Banana. All right, so creating images, and then it's really, really important to change your model to the thinking model. So that will allow a little bit more detail and a little bit more thoughtfulness as we get into our image generation. But this is an example of what I have learned how to create. It's so fun. So what we're going to do is I'll just walk you through how this takes place with, we have AI sort of explain something, make sure the explanation is what we want, and then AI will sort of organize this into this really fun sketched out version. All right, so that's thermal energy. This was actually the very first one I did, was the rock cycle. And so lots of really great information, organizing things in different ways, really, really fun. I took this a step further then and developed also a way to make it black and white with some blanks for students. And it does a pretty good job. It's not perfect, but this creates sort of an interactive experience for students that they could add to it and add their colors or their sketching or their words as we're talking through some of these topics in class. So I'm going to show you how to make these. There's another example of a similar one where it's got just some blanks for students to fill in stuff. Sometimes it makes sense, like valence electrons, it just added a blank. But you can play around with these and see what you come up with. Sometimes it's, it's just a little bit hit or miss at times. So this is the prompt that if you click on that link, I'll put the link in both the notes below the YouTube video and in our newsletter. So if you get to this prompt, it tells you first to ask Gemini in thinking mode before you start making the image, just to explain the topic to an age group. And I'll show you all how to do this with NotebookLM too, so you can use your own content. But after you've had it explain something, then you copy this prompt in. I'm going to go ahead and copy this so I can show you, and then I'll head to Gemini. All right, so when you do this, again, you want to just sort of start without the image generation on, but just go into thinking mode. And we'll just explain the water cycle. And I'll say that we want to do this for 5th grade. It's important to kind of tell it what you want it to focus on in terms of age, because then it will make it appropriate for that. So it's got a good explanation here. It even did come up with a picture. It probably, it got that from Getty Images. But here's what we want to do now. If we wanted to make any changes or have it focus on a specific thing, this is where you would have it refine your explanation. But we're going to now switch into create images, make sure we're still in thinking mode, and then I'm going to paste that prompt in. And so it says create a thorough hand-drawn sketch note visual summary of the explanation. And so it's got some details here that tell it what style you want it to be in. And there are lots of really cool styles that are out in the world in terms of how you can describe. This is just the one that I've been playing around with. Now, all of that is fine. It tells some details. You could have it play with it a little bit more. The 11:8.5 is the size that you want it to do. If you want it to be printable and 8.5 by 11, you just pop that in there or make it whatever size that you want it to be. And so when I push submit, it will start thinking and loading Nano Banana Pro. Okay, so we've got some pretty cool sketch notes about the water cycle. It's cute. It's great. And it's got some room for kids to add their own little spice to it. Now, if you want to get a black and white version, you can then follow up with a student version of the same handout. So we're going to do that right next and see what comes up with. All right. So you can see here is the student version worksheet where it's got plenty of room for the student to add their own little tweaks to it. It's black and white, so you don't have to print it in color. Allow the kids to color it. It's a great resource for somebody who's learning about the water cycle. So really cool stuff there. And you can also do this in NotebookLM. And I won't demonstrate that all, but I'll just go and show you. Here's the atoms and molecules notebook that I've used in the past. And there are lots of different ways that styles that you can go into. It will do a whole bunch of different types of things. If you don't give it much prompting, it'll create maybe something like this. But then you can also edit your infographic and paste in the prompt in that same place. And I would try a detailed version of it, and it will create the same sort of graphic. And I've done that before with a couple of different things. So I've tested that and it works really slick. So that's it, ladies and gents. That is how to create some really cool graphics. I hope this has been helpful, and I'd love to see what you create. So send it to me. My email address is jdavis@esu1.org.